It's a completely separate thing. There are a lot of, there's been a lot of negative publicity that I didn't talk about the World Trade Center site purposely because it's very difficult to talk about. It's been going on for, it's probably not the best example of great planning. And the Calatrava, because of its cost overruns and its controversial design, is really probably not, it's been highly criticized. I'm hoping that the Penn Station project will have a more pragmatic life. I think there are certain, there are similar problems that need to be solved, although there are far more people. One of the things about Penn Station that we think will be critical to talking about this, and this gets to the notion of the collective good. There are 2 tunnels that run under the Hudson right now that come into that train station. And they were built by the sheer will and vision of Mr. Cassatt, who owned the Pennsylvania Railroad many, many years ago. And so he stood on New Jersey and he said, my trains have to go into Manhattan. So he built these tunnels. And we've been trying to build new tunnels ever since. And the problem is that if something were to happen to one of those tunnels, and this is the kind of secret, I don't know, disaster, is that it would cut down, you would then only have 1 tunnel to bring trains in and out of the city. It would cripple the economy of New York. So the planning to build 2 new tunnels and a new Penn Station needs to happen. We probably, according to the train station, Amtrak and all of the train companies, we probably have about 15 years before something terrible will happen. So it's a different issue, although it's not unrelated. The Calatrava thing is, I don't even know what to say about it. It's too much money, it's over budget. There was so much ridiculous political stuff that went on down there. I don't have anything really good to say about it. I think it would be lessons learned. I don't think that, there are also economic forces at work there, which because of the, as I mentioned, Hudson Yards, which is going to have hundreds of thousands of new square footage of retail. Neiman Marcus is going in there, and lots of people working there. I think there will be necessity here that they didn't really need that train station built quite that way downtown.
What is your strategy to maintain those smaller, wonderfully unique places that you identified around Madison Square Garden when you go forward with the next step?
Well, there are a number of ways that we're looking at, which probably mostly have to do with zoning and providing subsidy. There are some places, and I think I can't remember which cities. Some cities have done this where there's a certain minimum square footage for storefronts. You can maintain small storefronts as part of the zoning. You can basically. We pay subsidies to people to build luxury condominiums. We give them tax breaks. You can give people tax breaks to keep local businesses and local types of manufacturing in place.
So you are planning on that kind of subsidy?
Well, I don't have the power to do that. I have the power to annoy the city government greatly to make sure they do that.
Go ahead.
Let's take one more question.
Could you speak to the Hurricane Sandy as far as how you went from crisis drop to how you actually connect to sort of action that help us came to understand a bit more about resilience or whatever else?
Well, there's an awful lot of fronts that we were working on sort of simultaneously. I mean, the placemaking piece was going on really all over the city, working with communities. Different city agencies had different opportunities in Coney Island. There was a lot that went on there. Staten Island as well, where there was a lot of damage. There was a terrific report that was done by the Bloomberg administration called the SIR report, which was the Strategic Initiatives for Rebuilding and Resiliency. It's online, and it had a lot of very specific initiatives that were supposed to be done. The report was done in 2013, spring of 2013. We are right now, through the organization that I'm in, currently tracking whether some of those promises were in fact kept by the city, because it was a huge bunch of promises. A lot of them were unfunded, but they are necessary. So there was a lot of federal money that came in that has not been yet spent. There was a competition, Rebuild by Design, that we were involved in as well, that involved communities looking at how communities wanted to re-envision their communities after the storm. So it's a hugely complicated process. I don't think it's something that all cities face now in their different disasters in different places as climate change sort of becomes more noticeable. And I think how we collectively deal with that is going to be hugely important.